Hey everybody, this is Tommy Castro with Premier Guitars Big Five. I have a favorite guitar to play, and it's my Delaney Castro caster. And the reason probably is because I designed the thing, and interestingly enough, I don't have my Delaney with me. I'm kind of living in two parts of California now, Southern California and Northern California, at the same time. So I have some things up there where my band is based, and I have some things here in Palm Desert where I'm living now. But so the point of that is my Delaney is on the bus, ready to go on a tour soon. and this is the guitar that I kind of made out of parts. I bought parts from Warmouth Guitars online, and I had a friend of mine who's a tech put it together, and it was an idea I had. It's a Jazzmaster body, basically, and a Tele switch. It's got like a 69 Strat neck, rosewood neck, and then I wanted 3 different pickups so that I could probably get some different sounds, different types of guitar sounds without changing guitars, because I like to put on a fast-paced show where we don't spend a lot of time between songs. We go from song to song, and with a couple of a little communication with the audience every 3 or 4 tunes. But other than that, I like to keep it going, and I don't like to stop to change guitars, and I don't have an on-stage tech. And so anyway, long story short, for my gig, the Delaney Castro caster that is made by Mike Delaney now, he makes them by hand down in Texas, one at a time, and they're beautiful, beautifully crafted guitars. And you could buy one if you want from Delaney Guitars. You can actually get a Castro caster, and it's got a humbucker, a P90, and a single coil Strat type pickup on the neck. It is based on this, but it has a few improvements. Number one, the Delaney guitar is ported, so it's a little bit lighter, and the finish is a light finish, so you can actually feel the wood grain. The idea of that is that the wood sings a little more. It resonates a little better, and with the big headstock, 69 style neck. So that gets me to my actual favorite guitar is my 66 Strat that I played for most of my career, and most of the gigs I ever played. I played that Strat through a Super, basically on 10. That was 8 to 10 in there was where I went. Well, I like I like the sound to break up, but naturally on the amp, and that was it. But I had that one tone. I used to play that guitar on the neck pickup into a Super without any effects at all. And I did that for years and years and years. And I got to a point where I needed to do something else. I just needed to try some other things, and always wanted a Firebird. So I started playing a Firebird for a while. And anyway, it all brought me around to this, like, what do I really want to get out of a guitar? Because I started loving the sound of humbuckers, even the mini humbuckers on the Firebird. I like the sound of a guitar with a thick humbucker on it, and also the noise was a big problem. My old Strat, I love it, but man, is it noisy. It's really hard to get rid of the hum. We chose the JB Seymour Duncan for the bridge, and it just I tried a couple of humbuckers out, and this one just kicks ass, and that's one I like the most. And then, to be honest, the Delaney P90 is really a P100. It's a stacked version, so it doesn't make any noise either, And then I've got the Strat pickup, which is just I forget what model or manufacturer we put in there. I think we popped a few different ones in there till I was happy, but it's a real single coil. And so if it's I could take a chance on a little bit of a hum once in a while, depending on the room, depending on the gig. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It gives me a variety of sounds, which is really, pretty handy. I don't have to change guitars a lot. It's a... And then over here, I get a little Stratty. splitting them like that. And then this the P90 is real cool for lots of things. It's not as edgy. It's a little more. It's a little mellower. And I use it for various songs. So I just switch around depending on the song, and I don't have to change guitars a lot. And that's why it's my favorite guitar to play on stage, the Delaney Castro. But the one I love the most is my old Strat. I got it from a good friend of mine who's not with us any longer, and it was just with me for so many years and so many shows, and it's a story in itself. So I love that guitar. And then the other one I really like a lot is my resonator. It's a real national, and it belonged to another really good friend of mine who's not with us anymore. And I always wanted a real one of those, and there's a story behind it, but we don't have time for that. But anyway, I do have a great deal of affection for that guitar, and that's it about guitars. My Desert Island album, I think that's probably changed over the years, but my first thing that came to mind is Taj Mahal's Giant Step. It's just a great record. Taj is a big influence on me, and that was the first album I think that I owned of his. And when I was young, I played it 1,000 times. There's so many reasons I love that record. But I just and everything that Taj ever did, I'm a big fan. The variety of soulful styles that he plays, there's some straight ahead R&B soul songs on there. There's some stuff with Jesse Davis on guitar, that they just created some sounds that you don't really have a category to put it in. And then he's got that whole old folks at home side where he does all the country blues fingerpicking style on the banjo, on a 12-string guitar, and on resonators, and it's just that was the first time I ever heard music like that. And now I'm a big fan of that style, Mississippi John Hurt and Elizabeth Cotton. I really love to hear somebody just sit down and play an acoustic guitar in that style. So that album, yeah, that would keep me happy because it's got all these different styles of blues and soul music that I like. And Taj, his style, he's a one of a kind artist, but everything he does comes from somewhere. You could hear where it comes from. It's interesting nowadays because I've been doing these legendary rhythm and blues cruises now. I've been on about 30 of them, and Taj is one of the few people that's on every single cruise. And me and my band have been fortunate enough to be booked on there every cruise for, like I say, it's been 30 at least. I think we're going on 31, 32 coming up here in November and January again. And so I get to hang out with all the different artists, and especially the ones that have been on every cruise like that. We really got to be friends over the time that I've been going. We'll get on the phone. We got on the phone a couple of times during the pandemic, just to connect and talk about music. And Taj is one of these guys that he is just a wealth of information on many subjects, not just music. Music just is a part of everything that he knows. But it's been an interesting. It was interesting to me for being like a 14-year-old kid listening to Giant Step and just losing my mind, because where was music like that before? I was listening to rock and roll radio, and until they started playing Bacon Fat on the local rock station, I didn't really know about music like that. Well, that's easy. I think the fact that guitar is completely dominated the blues scene bothers me. And I'm a guitar player and I love guitar, and I really there's so many great guitar players to listen to. all the legends, of course, that inspired me all these years. And then there's so many great new talent, or relatively new talent, you know, uh, and I appreciate and like a lot of these artists, a lot of these guitar players. I'm not going to mention any names, but I think it's the only thing that bothers me is that, blues. I mean, I'm a blues artist, you know, and I'm a guitarist, but my music is, in my mind, anyways, never really revolved around the guitar. It's not about the guitar. The guitar is just one instrument in the band, and I happen to be the guitar player, and this, but I write songs, and I'm a singer, and the whole performance of the music as a group, has always been sort of my thing. I've always liked to have a band feeling about what I do. And then I look out there. I have friends and people on the circuit, same kind of circuit that I'm on, and the people that are getting. It just seems like it's hard for people who are saxophone players or keyboard players or harmonica players or just great blues vocalists don't get nearly the traction that the guitar acts do. And so that bothers me a little bit. I think it should be the blues scene which is my bread and butter scene. And believe me, I'm so grateful to be a part of it, all these years. The festival circuit, the clubs circuit, would play theaters and things, all of these different ways that we get to go out and work and play our music to wonderful audiences. I really am grateful for all of that. If I could have my way, it would be mixed. There wouldn't be like 9 guitar acts on a festival, and then maybe a singer or somebody who plays harmonica. The harmonica alone is such a world of blues. There's so much. It's so important, to the genre. But there seems to be not a lot of representation going on. And I have friends of mine that are just really great at it, and they have a lot to say, like Rick Estrin. He's such one of the great songwriters of all time for this genre of music, and I'd like to hear more from him, see more of him out there, and guys like him, Curtis Salgado. There's not a better talent out there, but he's got to compete with the guitar players and just doesn't get as much traction. Like I say, so that's my pet peeve. Which guitar heroes of mine might shock fans of my music? I don't know if this would shock anybody, but the name that comes to mind is Santana, Carlos Santana. He's one of the most soulful players on the planet, but it's really it's Latin rock, and it's a style, and I dip into it every once in a while, and I really love what he does. It's because he's unique. There's nobody that really plays like him. I mean, everybody imitates him a little bit. If you get any kind of a Latin groove, comes along and you go to play. I mean, I think everybody hears Santana in their head. When they're going to do if you're going to do something like that, with that feel or that sound, you'll go there. And I do, sometimes, but you don't hear it that much in my music, and may not know that he had a big influence on me when, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and we wound up at events together, like the Bay Area Music Awards back in the day. They called them the BAMMys, and everybody up and down the, from all levels of music in the Bay Area would attend and be recognized. And I met Carlos back in the day, and would occasionally go over to his place. He didn't live far from me, and hang out, play guitar, and he would give me advice, really good advice about making records and about how to approach the guitar. He'd say things to me like, a note is like an old friend. You should visit it once in a while. Don't just play the note, really play the note, really give it what it deserves. And those kinds of things stuck with me. What is my secret weapon? I try to answer questions like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That always works for me because I could, several things will follow. But I think it's the first thing is the right answer usually. And I think it's my love of greasy soul music. As a guitar player, um, I don't hear a lot of that. I don't hear a lot of guitar players that, whose music is so influenced by like Stax Volt era soul music, 60s soul music, with the real gritty stuff, not the Motown stuff so much, which I love Motown songs, and a lot of great talent there. But I really love the sound of, guys like Pickett and Otis Redding and Sam and Dave and, Rufus Thomas and any number of acts from that school. And mostly that affects my vocal style. But the songs that I write and the songs that I choose to cover, and even though I do cover a lot of like traditional blues from all the different states like Texas and Chicago, Illinois, sounds of Louisiana. There's a West Coast thing. Nobody can really seem to pinpoint what that is, but I'm part of that. And but I think it's that influence for me that sets me apart a little bit from the pack.